Hello everyone. Thank you for showing up to this Q&A stream. We are so excited to have you here. Let's go around and introduce ourselves. First, we can start with you, Natalie.
Hi everyone, I'm Natalie. I'm the designer and lead writer for Warrenguard, a tabletop role-playing game about dragon riders and found family. And I use she/her pronouns.
Thank you. Next up, John, if you could introduce yourself, please, and why are you here and a part of this project?
Sure. Hi, I'm John Bettridge. I am one of the co-founders of Dice Dungeons. We're your friendly local dice company here in Baltimore. And Natalie brought us onto this project very kindly to make some custom dice that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Amazing. And last but certainly not least, oh, actually, before me though, Anonymous Gob, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, y'all. Uh, Name's Tony. I am doing the dragon art for uh for Warrenguard. I was randomly contacted by Natalie through an email, and I kind of thought it was a scam at first because because I never know. But turns out it's been very fun.
And very legitimate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very legitimate. And my name is Abby Kelly. I am the art director, layout designer, and helping hand for that in the Warrenguard project. And thank you for coming to this Q&A. Also, we have a couple people saying your art is stunning, Tony. So make sure you're taking in those
Oh,
compliments from Critical K and Mads the Blank. For everyone watching, we have a limited amount of time with John tonight. John's feeling quite a bit under the weather. So if you have any dice questions, we will be taking those in first, and I will lead the way. John, to start off, how did you get onto this project?
So we are, as I said, we're local to Baltimore, and Natalie very kindly just reached out to me one day and said, I'm starting this new RPG system. Would you like to make some dice for it? And I said, absolutely, that sounds great. What kind of dice? And Natalie said, fudge dice. And I said, what are those? Because I'll be honest, I'm a little bit of a vanilla RPG player. I play a lot of 5e. So, that being said, we're extremely excited to make our first line of fudge dice. And I think Natalie shared some of the pictures on the Discord
Yeah, I've
of the
shared pictures
prototypes.
on Discord, and I have, oh, if you can see them,
Yes.
the dice right here. These gorgeous dragon crest fate dice.
Yes, I can also flash the image over top John's fish because when John has
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
yeah, do that.
leave. So right now, look, John is the dice now. There's
That's
John.
it.
But yes, so tell us a bit about Dice Dungeons, other stuff Dice Dungeon does, and
Sure.
all that jazz.
Yeah, so we started in 2017. My business partner Jarrett Butler and I, and we never expected this to be a business. It was just for fun. But over the years, we've grown from just a dice reseller to specializing in custom made dice. We do a lot of our own Kickstarters for our different lines. But one of our favorite things to do, and one of my favorite things personally, being the general manager of operations, is doing projects like this, where it's something wholly new for us as a company and making a wholly unique design for a system like Warrenguard. And yeah, I think that
Awesome.
covers that.
Yeah, we have our first question coming in from Critical K. How many color samples or combos did you consider before settling on Golden Red? And were there any other combos that both you and Natalie liked when working on this project together?
Yeah, so when we do a collaboration with creators, we give them full license to tell us what to do.
Yeah.
And so the the initial concept of this started with um, Natalie had an idea just for some fate dice, and I said, well, I could make a custom logo for it, and we can do all of these custom colors. So then Natalie came up with the color scheme for it, and I thought I had it, and so I sent it to her, and I said, "Here you go." And she goes, "No, that's yellow, not gold." And so we went through a couple iterations like that, but we really like that sort of feedback because you get the end result like you can see in the photos. And but I think we went through like probably 7 or 8 different color combinations.
Yeah, we had a blue and silver one we were looking at for a little while.
It was a little too dark, yeah.
Yeah, the original dream, and unfortunately, maybe when we go for the Warrenguard hardcover backer kit in a year from now, we'll be able to achieve it, was doing a dice color for each dragon, which unfortunately I don't think we could hit the volume to be able to do that.
Yeah.
The math just would not math. But yeah, there's the yellow and red ones, the reject dice that we'll be raffling off at
Awesome.
our launch party, and
I wish I could go.
yeah, I'll save you one of the reject dice, Abby.
Yes. Awesome.
And so we will, although we don't have the prototypes yet. Did you announce the other set already?
Not publicly, but let's talk about it.
Do you mind if I talk about it?
Please do. So
Natalie has also came forward with the idea to do a premium set, and so we discussed for a little while, and we'll also be making, for backers who want something a little extra special, a set of cubic zirconia D6s with the Warrenguard logo, which is going to be really exciting.
Yeah,
so
I had the opportunity. Yeah, I had the opportunity to play with some of the cubic zirconia dice at the Dice Dungeons thing, and they feel so heavy. They feel so special in your hands, cool, which I'm really excited about.
Amazing. And when it comes to both cubic zirconia and metal, I'm only familiar when I see dice creators. They typically work, at least from what I've seen, in resin if they're showing it. So what's the difference in process when it comes to cubic zirconia and metal dice?
So
obviously
fundamentally different.
Yeah, I would assume.
So our bread and butter as a company is the injection molded nickel zinc die. Okay. And so that's where you actually cut a steel mold, and you're going to inject the molten nickel zinc into those molds to create the dice. Mm-hmm. So resin dice makers have the incredible ability to really make changes on the fly, mm-hmm, and kind of do like really cool variations within a theme. With metal dice, we cut the mold, and those are the dice we're going to make.
Yep.
We can change the electroplate color, which is the background color on the die, and mm-hmm, we can change the enamel colors. But the there's no cool insets or inserts that we can do. But mm-hmm, I think where they shine is you get really detailed and beautiful reliefs on each face of the die, mm-hmm, and that just always called to Jared and I, which is why we mm-hmm continue to make those. Yeah. And then with gemstones, those are actually cut by a jeweler by hand.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And I think that's why when I see the Warrenguard dice, I'll just put them over your face for a moment so that people see.
Sure,
you can see the reliefs of the crest that was made. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, it was Critical K saying the dragon head looks so crisp and clear, and that's definitely something you can get with your process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something really cool is, John, you actually designed that just simple sketch design, right? And we've actually gone forward and incorporated that in the art for the cover and in a few other pieces of art. It's become the Warrenguard crest, we're calling it. And it's showing up in a few pieces of art, mm-hmm, in the world. Yeah. So it's very cool.
Yeah, it's actually behind you in the art that is there. People might have seen it in the starting soon. And actually, I think, I would have to find which, yeah, if I hide you for a moment, people can see behind just the bottom of the flag. That's the bottom of the crest there.
Yeah.
And yeah, awesome.
And I have no formal art training. I'm a biologist by training.
And wait,
so,
and how did you go from? Oh yeah, because you said before how you got into it.
yeah. Well, when I was a really depressed grad student, Jared and I started this as a way to be less depressed. And,
Yeah.
it's worked really well.
Art does that, I believe.
Yeah.
Doing stuff that you love.
Exactly.
Okay. Again, keep any dice-related questions rolling in. Anything that I haven't touched upon in the process that anyone else here would like to ask, or anything else you'd like to share about dice making?
Sure. I guess one thing I'll just put out there is that we would love to hear from other creators. If you have a project, we work with everybody, and working with Natalie's been kind of the highlight of 2024 for me so far. It's been really cool to just see her project come together and how our little piece of it folds into the world making. So always feel free to reach out. It's easy to remember. John@dicedungeons.com is my contact. So yeah.
And I will say that working with Dice Dungeons has been amazingly easy. Like everything has been like, what about this? And John will be like, great idea. It never felt like a struggle. So I am plugging you to all my TTRPG creator friends and being like, if you want, tokens, because you're also doing the tokens.
Oh yeah,
That's
talk
true,
about the
for
tokens.
Warrenguard, which we haven't talked about at all.
Yeah. We also make fantasy coinage of any sort.
Yeah. So we're gonna have 1-inch diameter. Are we doing them in 1-inch diameter? Is that what we're doing them in? Yes.
You can do them in whatever diameter you want. You just tell me. But the plan so far is 1-inch.
Yeah. I think 1-inch is what we budgeted for. So we're doing 1-inch diameter coins with the Dragonrider from the Warrenguard cover on one side and the Warren where the Dragonriders live on the other side. So it's very much like a quarter. You have your eagle dragon on one side and your Capitol building on the back. And backers will get at the Dragonrider tier. Will get a set of 24 of those, which is what you need. Is enough for a full table to play the game.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, I'm gonna quickly hop over to some of the other questions that we've gotten in. Let's see. These are some questions for Natalie. Number one, and this is from Chelsea Hay. What were the inspirations for Warrenguard for you?
I want to talk about that, but Kay asked another dice question, and I want to make sure we're getting those in for John in chat.
That? Oh my gosh!
Kay, what is your dream dice material?
Yes, thank you.
To work with, what have you not gotten to do that you want to work with?
Ooh. Well, there's two. There's the forbidden materials, which is I've always wanted to make a mildly radioactive one. Not gonna happen. And then the other one that I want to make that we'll probably just make it in house is make some gallium dice so that when you roll them they melt.
That's funny.
Because at room temperature they go to liquids, so or slightly above.
You just take your dice out of the freezer and you're like, give me a second.
Exactly.
And then they just go. That's amazing.
Yeah, so gallium dice. Watch for them.
Also, Mads the Blank is saying, this makes so much sense for someone with a science background.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So good to bring other things you know from life into what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the last one, speaking of science, is we have a long-term project we're working on for we're calling them the Save the World dice, and it's basically we're working on ways to collapse styrofoam down into a usable material
Mm-hmm.
to create dice,
Oh.
but that is in its very early infancy, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of logistical problems with that one.
Understandable.
That's
And a
very
small
cool.
explosion
Yeah.
on the prototypes.
Just a wee bit of explosive.
Just a wee bit of explosion.
You know how it goes. A reminder, if anyone is
Explosive
hopping in.
dice is fun.
That was good. For anyone who is just coming in now, also, we're just doing our dice questions. We have 5 more minutes with John. As we wait for any others to come in, I'll just do that one question for Nat of what were the inspirations. Oh, wait, no, another one came in. Critical K is holding us up once again. What cons will Dice Dungeons be at in 2024?
Oh boy. Well, thanks to Jane, our convention manager, who joined us 2 years ago now. We've really expanded our lineup. So we just came back from KatsuCon and all those wonderful people. Our next one will be at Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle. Then we'll be at PAX East, C2E2 in Chicago, and Gen Con. Those are our big ones for the summer.
Oh,
So
I'll
we
see
would
you
love
at
if you
Gen Con
stopped by.
probably.
Wonderful, yeah, and Otakon too. We will be at Otakon here in the harbor that
Lovely.
same weekend. Yeah,
Great.
so hope to see you all there. It'll be wonderful.
Great. Then we just have some comments. A first thought was Jello dice for a forbidden material, and then Chelsea is saying dice with shredded reptile skin with the type of dice that you work with, which is metal, or working with jewelers for like cubic zirconia. I don't think shredded reptile skin can go inside the metal quite well.
No, but one of our friends made a metal set where they stretched faux leather over the surface, which looked really cool.
Ooh.
So maybe we could find like some faux skin like that and do it like that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
It'll be very
Yeah,
cool.
that's a good idea. Thank you.
Oh, because also
Yeah.
with reptile skin, because then it's like it has that like leathery. It's just like
That really,
yeah.
textured feel.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Nice, amazing.
Awesome.
All right. Again, another call out. Keep asking your dice questions. Let's see if we get through it this time. What were the inspirations for Warrenguard, Natalie?
So are you? So thematically, the big inspirations for me was I grew up reading the Dragonriders Pern series, which I think a lot of people who are excited about Warrenguard grew up reading. The Harpers of Pern were one of my favorite book series as a kid, and when I kind of Warrenguard was kind of a mechanics up realization, and when I kind of stumbled into these mechanics, I was like, this feels like you're riding something, and I don't want to write another mech game because there's too many mech games, and horses kind of scare me. So, what are a thing that you ride? And I immediately thought of the Dragon Riders of Pern
Yeah.
series, and was like, yes, that's it. Like that's what I can write with this mechanic that I've stumbled into. Yeah.
Amazing. And I'd say going off that of because you built it mechanics up first. My next question is so when you said you found kind of the mechanics first, what was that process like? You told me before, but to tell the people.
Yeah. So Warrenguard actually started with me trying to write a game to capture another book series I loved as a kid, Animorphs. Animorphs were super important to me as a kid.
Yes.
And I started writing a game in PBTA that was an Animorphs game called Mother Nature's Children. I actually have the mock cover I made right here for Mother Nature's Children. That was an experiment I was working on, and PBTA was just not the right system for it. I wrote this. I wrote like 30 pages, and then was like, I'm going down the wrong route. So I started looking at other ways to do modal play because Animorphs is them as humans, and then they turn into animals to go fight, and I wanted to capture kind of both sides. And when I stumbled into Belonging Outside Belonging, which is a system I've already written in my first game, Sapphic Space Pirates. I'm just going to keep holding up things. This is the Natalie holds up things stream. Is a Belonging Outside Belonging game. And I realize it has a token economy that's actually the same as Fate's token economy. And I realized that I could just lay the systems on top of each other and they would complement each other. And I could have this Belonging Outside Belonging is a great system for like exploring social interactions, but it does combat terribly. It doesn't do combat. And Fate does combat in a way that I really love, where it's less about like, do I hit the thing and how much damage it does, and it's more about creative problem solving. And then I was like, well, if I give my dragons different breath weapons, like there's my creative problem solving.
Ta-da.
Like, you know, how do you use your ice breath to solve this sky jellyfish or things like that? And the system kind of just it almost wrote itself from there. And then it was just finding the flavor for the top of it and dragons. Yeah.
Dragons, yeah. Amazing. I'd like to take this moment because now we're 20 minutes in. John, I know you need to go, so I just want to say thank you. If you have any final words or anything finally to plug, everyone, Dice Dungeons. This is John at dicedungeons.com. Is that, yeah?
Correct. Yep.
Exactly. And make sure to check out those dice. I'm going to throw the dice in front of you. You're free to leave the call. I just am going to warn the stream for when John leaves. I'm just going to have to adjust the cams for a moment.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I'm just so excited to be a part of the project, and I can't wait to show you all the cubic zirconia D6s as they are ready.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
All right, let me just fix this because right now Natalie's John. I'm still myself. But I'm just going to do a quick fix. We're going to do this. Yes, I'm going to remove that window capture. Put this there. Natalie fixing. Just pretend there's some like fun elevator music playing for everyone on stream. Perfect. All right, I got all of us going. It's been fixed. I'm just gonna put the dice there. Oop. And we're back.
All right.
Lovely.
We did it.
We did it. Fixing on the fly.
Abby Kelly, not only a fantastic art director, but also stream runner, Stardew Valley enthusiast,
Yes.
and fabulous artist on top of everything. I hope that you have that sketch you drew of what if the dragons were friends in your slide deck.
Oh, what if the dragons were friends? Where is that? Wait, what?
Remember, it was like a little 3-panel comic you wrote.
Oh, no, I don't have that in the slide. I was like, what do you mean? Well, here, I'm going to bring up the slide deck now then, because I think now is a great time to highlight, since we got Tony here with us. Oh, I have to fix those ones too, because we got moved around in there.
Oh no.
Oh, I know.
Do you need me to vamp and talk about some other Warrenguard stuff?
Yes, please vamp for me.
So the other thing that was a big thing for Warrenguard was found family. I've been lucky to have found a lot of found families in my life that were with me for different periods where I needed them. And Sapphic Space Pirates, for example, I'll talk about Sapphic Space Pirates again for a moment, is very much a game about my roller derby team more than anything through the lens of Sapphic Space Pirates. And Warrenguard is kind of about a workplace I worked in my 20s and the relationships I had there. being the new fresh face and the connections that I built. And, you know, I really try hard to capture found family in my games. I know it's a theme that a lot of people try and capture in D&D, but D&D just does not have the mechanics to support it. You have to bring all the found family with you, and I tried really hard to uh, write a game that would force you to be a found family. If you went in not realizing that that was a mechanic of the game, I wanted it to be something that happened, and I think I succeeded. Uh,
I think you did 100%.
Thank you.
We do have a fresh question, so I'll do that before we go to
Uh-huh.
the slides. The question from Critical K. Thank you, Critical K, for giving us all these questions. Natalie, what made you decide to do random dragon assignment instead of player choice for the game?
I really wanted so the dragons. When I wrote the dragons, I wanted each of the 12 dragon species that I wrote in the game to feel unique, and I tried to kind of take the stats and separate them from each other. But what I ended up in was a system where, even though the dragons were incredibly unique, there wasn't room for you to also customize the dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was kind of playtesting it with myself, like when you picked the dragon, it just ended up being a single choice. But when the dragon was randomly assigned to you as part of character creation, it flavored your character in a way that made a bunch of it it even though that there's no choice there,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of made all your other choices more significant around the flavor of your dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And being like, why me? This is something that's happened in one of our actual plays where we have our dark and brooding outsider. The outsider is kind of the sexy bad boy. They're
Yeah.
the tough, wears like leather, you
Yeah.
know, scar down their face. And they have a pink dragon, which is
Mm-hmm.
fun and playful and sweet.
Shout out
And
AJ who plays Rebel.
yeah, and to think about what kind of person would be an outsider who would end up with
Mm-hmm.
a pink dragon,
Yep.
like that is so interesting to me because I think so many people, if they were given the choice, would choose like, I'm the outsider and I
Mm.
write a black dragon
Yeah.
or I write a red dragon
Yeah.
and I'm tough.
Mm.
And to see the flavor that it adds to the character to have the dragon choose you, I think it was a design. The first time I actually play tested it with people, I had that, and it was kind of well, I nailed that in one. I'm not gonna test it other ways because I love the way this works so much that
Yeah.
I'm attached to it.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. All right, I'm gonna do the transition now. Exit out of studio mode, and there we go. Okay, so we're doing.
There's some of Abby's fantastic art.
This is my art.
Uh, yeah,
Not the cover, the little guy. And that is an
yeah,
imitation of a meme dragon of Toothless, because,
yeah.
yeah. So artist shoutouts. Natalie Chenard is the cover artist, wonderful cover artist. Shad Benian has done our wonderful 2-page cozy hold room, which is actually our kind of background during this. Katie, or Katie Lynn Kawaguchi has been our ace artist, and Tony here, Anonymous Gob, is our dragon artist and did our caretaker, which I'm going to go through and show us our art. So you can see this is the big cover art. For you, Nat, what prompts did you give for this art? Because this is before me.
Yeah, this was the first piece of art I commissioned for the game, and actually I was lucky enough to meet both Abby and Natalie Chenard at Big Bad Con this year. I made a lot of connections for this game at Big Bad Con, um, and Yeah. I wanted a dragon in flight.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to have a rider on its back.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of gave the flavor of all the dragons to Natalie and was like, pick the color you think is right for the cover. I wanted to complement like the colors you're choosing
Mm-hmm.
more than anything, but make sure that you're nailing that flavor of the dragon as well. I asked for the Warren in the background, which the Warren are these floating islands in the world where the dragon riders live and keep their watch. Um, and I also I wanted it to really pop on the shelf. I wanted bright colors.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book whose cover I absolutely love because every time I see it on the shelf, I like want to pick it up, which is this OSR supplement called Sesson Citadel,
Mm-hmm.
which is this bright pink book. And when you see it on the shelf, like you're just absolutely drawn to it. If anyone's ever seen Sesson Citadel, and I really wanted to kind of capture um, that sort of bright color on the shelf because so many TTRPGs are dark, and I think, um, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bright
And
blue.
then the rest was all Natalie.
Yeah. Gorgeous. I've always
Yeah.
loved like the flow of movement in it
Uh
and
huh.
the roundness of the sky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss any questions. No, I did not. Next up, this is the Ace. I just want to do a nice little zoom in. It's giving romanceable character in a visual novel. Uh, like one of those like video game novellas. It's just like, hey, how you doing? And yeah, Mads agrees. Really is. So I wanted to
Uh-huh.
highlight this. And I'm just excited, so I wanted to skip to it because we have Tony right here. And sorry, someone's saying Warrenguard visual novel when?
I did want to throw out because
Oh
this
yeah,
was
you go.
also commissioned before you were brought in,
Yes.
Abby,
Mm-hmm.
and my prompt to Katie
Mm-hmm.
was I want them to be sexy, but I want to not be able to tell what their gender is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and Katie nailed that
Yeah.
absolutely. Like I have no idea this person's gender,
Nope.
but they're hot.
That's
Uh,
Yes.
it. Goals, really. That's when you make your Warrenguard characters. That's what you need. They're just hot. That's why one of the options for putting something in your hold is steamy baths. Because why
mhm.
not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also one of the things you can do in this game. This actually draws back to. Sorry, I was just watching
Yeah.
Eclipse have a conversation with Jay Dragon
Mm-hmm.
before this, and they were talking about how limitations push your characters to explore those limits. And one of the things you can choose in the game are rules against romance, which is almost
Yeah.
choosing like we want forbidden romance to be
Yes.
part of the story.
Oh,
Mm.
And
it's so good.
yeah,
Just as a player, I find this game, it's like when it thinks of the balance between, oh, I want something that's like there is story. It's like moving along, but also the like because it's found family, but the character relationships you can explore and those limitations you're saying, the narratives that come out of this, what you can do with your character. It's just all so good. So I
yeah.
huge fan.
Okay, let's hop to some of Tony's art.
Dragon time.
Yeah, Dragon Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just I'd say Tony, take it away first. I'd say first talking about the orange dragon because that was commissioned before me, so you two could talk about that, and then we will talk gold dragon after.
Yeah.
And yes, dragon questions.
Mm.
Start tip typing.
Yeah. So first, I want to talk about how I found Tony.
Yes. Oh
If
please.
that's all right, Tony. Do you even
Of
know how I
course.
found you?
Uh, I I I was told how you got like my information, and
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, okay, I guess yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a fantastic queer women-owned comic book shop and coffee shop here in Baltimore called Dreamers and Make Believers. And they have been amazing supporters of the Warrenguard project. They have flyers up there for the game. They're hosting one of our crowdfunding parties. But I asked them early on, like, do you know anyone who can, like, local artists? Do you know anyone who can draw dragons? And they were immediately like, oh, Tony. Tony could do this. Like, Tony drew this little, like, cartoon dragon. And I know that's not what you're looking for us, but, like, Tony is who you want to talk to. And yeah, Tony and I met up with Tony at Dreamers and Make Believers, and while I was talking, he just immediately started sketching, and I was like, yes. Like, you drew immediately. Like, I talked to you about what I sent you with a list of the dragons, and you were immediately like, I want to draw the orange one.
Yes.
And you started drawing it with a beak, and like, just, I was like, I didn't even think of that, but of course the orange dragon has a beak. Like, you just were so creative on that.
Well, it's like
And
my immediate idea was just like this dragon sounds like a terror, a menace to society, and I
yeah.
love that energy, and I want to encapsulate that energy in like just like this weird little guy.
Oh gosh, amazing.
So why don't you talk about, like, what are some choices you made while drawing the orange dragon, Tony? I want to hear about.
So I at first like my primary focus was like getting down like the caretaker and like the outfit that I wanted to put them in, and then started to focus more on the dragon. It's like getting like the description for the dragon as far as like what type of powers and everything that it has. Was definitely like the major influence for like the color scheme. Because if I remember correctly, it was like magma
Yes.
sort of situation. And I was
Yes,
like,
the
well,
orange
yeah,
dragon
obsidian
skips
black
magma.
for
Yeah.
sure. And then like we gotta have like a nice like smoky color because I didn't feel like the lighter color worked very well for like the belly, but like for the wings, it was just fine. It's like for the belly, it needed like something else. Um, and it also just adds to sort of just like a more of like the weird vibe because I get to do like a weird splotchy situation um, on the underbelly just to make him look even more punk, I guess, is like a way to say that. But no, this one was fun. Um, I'm honestly looking forward to doing even more dragons.
Yeah. Because I think it was talking about just getting you on to do dragons, because I think it's I think because Nat and I, it was just like, oh, this is what I had for the orange dragon, and then I don't know if we already discussed the gold dragon or if it. I think I was just like, why isn't Tony our dragon guy? Like, type of thing. I was like, they would be the best. They made an amazing dragon, and that was just fun going to Tony and being like, dragons.
Yeah. Do you want a ridiculous number of commissions, so where we're going to monopolize all your commission time over the next year?
It's like, yes, of course.
Yes. As an art director, that was a dream. Being just like, are you saying I can be a patron of the arts for one artist for a bit? Like that's the fun contract to be like, haha, you're mine. Anyways, I also want to talk about because with the. Actually, I'll pause because I want to catch up with questions because people love the dragons and they have questions. Critical K says, discussion of inspo for different color dragon designs. What is the inspo for each color? I think it is in their general outline is what you have, Nat, and then it's take it from there. For the gold, I sent an idea thing and then I went to Tony and I went, here, and it was like a full Pinterest collage together.
Yeah.
With colors and stuff. And you can see actually the sketches behind here. And Tony is incredible.
Oh yeah, it's like initially the design was much more based on like the very literal definition that I got is like, oh yeah, it's like do like a mane of scales. It's like, okay, that could be interesting. And then I remembered, oh, what are they even called? The frilled lizards. There we go.
Yeah.
And I was like, that would work perfectly because like it naturally it doesn't always have to be like sharp pointy manes as you're like riding your dragon, and it's more of a situation
Mm-hmm.
where it's like the dragon has the opportunity to look super cool, and it makes a choice to do so.
Mm-hmm.
It's very flamboyant, as a gold dragon
Mm-hmm.
should be.
Yes.
Um, it's like most of like the anatomy for the dragon initially was very like uh Komodo dragon, as
Mm.
far as like doing heavier limbs, and then I brought the lion aspect back into it,
Mm-hmm.
with like most of the anatomy. That's why it's like he's got the whiskers, which are my favorite part.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and yeah, and then like getting all the coloring the dragon was very fun as well. We did have to like tweak some stuff as far as like making it like much more like gold, from
Mm-hmm.
like the initial situation, because I did a lot of like when I'm doing anything with like a yellow like base color,
Mm-hmm.
my immediate thought is like, oh yeah, blue would go great with this.
Yeah.
um, and which was like it did look good, but
It
also
looked
at the
great.
same time it's like it wasn't gold.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the direction that, because I know that we have to, that we like tweak it just like a little bit more.
Yeah. I think it's I just edited the tone in this in the slideshow because it was I think it's because yeah, the original one you sent was quite golden tone. And then it was when you edited for green, somewhere in the process it went more yellow.
Mm,
And only because it
yeah.
went to the point where Rob, who wrote an article about it, called it the yellow dragon. I was like, okay, we do need to tweak it just one more time. Okay, fine. You got me. But yeah, it's it's just a regal little lad. Like,
No,
um,
I love dragon.
I love dragon. I can't wait to see all the other dragons that you draw. And there's quite a few. I don't know if you're looking at the chat. We get a couple. The flared out face for the gold dragon is stunning. People are talking about baby dragons. Oh my god, they'd be so cute. Um,
Oh, baby dragons.
um,
Um, I do want to throw out a quick promotion again. I feel like we're
yeah,
doing like a little like telethon thing.
yeah.
Um, if you back Warrenguard in the first 48 hours, we're going to do an exclusive sticker pack
Yes,
that's going to have a whole bunch of dragon stickers in it.
yes.
Depending how well the kit does is how many different color dragons I can afford.
Yes.
So back it, back it, back it. But the one thing that is I've decided is only ever going to be available to backers in the first 48 hours
Mm-hmm.
is I'm going to do a metallic foil gold dragon sticker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So if you want that, you have to back in the first 48 hours
Mm-hmm.
and you'll get a metallic gold dragon sticker. Um, yeah.
Because you want this. You want this guy.
Uh,
um,
yeah, you want that on your water bottle.
yeah, you do. Also, Mads the Blank says there's something so delightfully retro in your lines and colors that feel at home in something like gargoyles or thundercats. It's so appealing.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I First of all, I will say I've been meaning to rewatch Gargoyles for the longest time. Gargoyles was definitely one of my favorite shows back in the day. I never really watched Thundercats that much, but I remember watching when they did the first reboot, not the second one. That's
Hmm.
that's more like, I guess, like chibi situation. Um, and I remember that was also a good show because it was also in like the vein of like Young Justice and that sort of art style. Um, but no, thank you. I enjoy doing weird stuff with art.
Yeah. Various and Sundry asks, for everyone, would you rather have a dragon or would you rather be a dragon?
Oh, that's a good question. I
Abby,
mean,
you
I
haven't answered
guess.
a question yet
It
either.
it's also for me it's my immediate response is be a dragon. It doesn't make sense. I'm like, no, I'd rather have a dragon, but I'm like, no, I'd rather be a dragon because I'm imagining is I'm like I do like to hoard things, and so having a little pile and then going, ha ha ha, I would be so mischievous. I would love it. I can already, I'm getting crazy eyes. I'm like, I would love to be a dragon. Anyways, that's me. And I'm moderating this. I don't need to answer questions. It's fine.
Yeah, you do. Tony, what about you? Have a dragon or be a dragon?
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I would rather be a dragon because my immediate thought is I don't have to pay taxes.
Yes.
It's like I don't need a job. I'm a dragon. I can do whatever I want. It's like this apartment building, it's mine now. You can't stop me.
Exactly. And Nat, how about you?
I think mine's have a dragon. Abby has heard this story before, but I used to like fantasize about like riding dragons on my commute to and from work. And so when Abby was like, "How big is this dragon?" I was like, "How big's a Subaru Outback?" Because that's what I drive as a car.
That was the funniest thing to me because it was immediately, it was me being like, so how big are dragons? Since I'm trying to get a scale so I can like get sizes sent to artists and stuff if they're asking, and then it's just Subaru. It was the best thing. Oh, Chelsea Hay has another question that we hadn't gone over yet. It's the second question that was in the tweet. Thank you for putting it here, Chelsea. If you ever did an expansion or supplemental edition for Warrenguard in the future, what things would you include in it? Like hybrid dragons, more archetypes, etc. Or, in your case, you mentioned a hardcover release. Would you add stuff then?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've tried to add stuff to Warrenguard in the writing, and just every time I try and write something, it takes away more than adds. But one thing I've heard, it was one of your people in chat. Who was it? Who had like a future setting idea?
Oh.
Was it Chelsea?
Chelsea, did you have a future setting that you were thinking? Because the only other one I heard was AJ would talk about using it as doing a Power Rangers hack.
Yes,
for it.
Power Rangers is the other
Oh.
thing I would love to do with this system, where
Yeah.
you are like Sentai with your Dragon Riders and kind of write those settings. So a lot of it is more setting stuff than
Yeah.
anything else.
I
I
feel
would
like more
love to
additional
like,
chapters and stuff.
yes, more chapters too. So for people who haven't had a chance to be a playtester for this game, this game has playable chapters. The base game comes with 15. We have more in stretch goals. I'll talk more about stretch goals in a minute, but the chapters set up like they're just a prompt for where is the Warrenguard in the beginning of the session. Like, what are you dealing with? One of them is you're getting ready because the Dragon Master General is coming to inspect your warren, and you have to get things clean. One of them is you're invited to a ball.
Love that.
One of them is your dragons are molting, and you have a psychic connection with your dragons, so just everyone is itchy and uncomfortable. And then there's unlockable chapters that you actually unlock by leveling up your dragon rider. One of them are the outsider is challenged to a duel to the death, and you could lose your outsider in that. And just like, there's the outsider gone. Like, sorry, make a new character. One of them that we're actually getting ready to do on Total Party Kiss tomorrow is the old timer contemplates retirement and potentially retires at the end.
Yep.
So yeah, so that is that's the chapter system. So yeah, writing more chapters is definitely something I would love to do as an expansion. Writing more threats and monsters to face, really fleshing out the monsters in the world is something I'd love to do. Yeah.
And it was, what were other people saying? Well, as I'm looking for those other ones, there is a quick question of, if you were a dragon, what would you hoard? I would still hoard books. I would.
Same.
Yeah.
Mine is specifically TTRPG zines. Like, I am
Ooh,
a sucker for a good zine game.
very nice.
Like, my first game was a zine game,
Mm-hmm.
and like every time I go to a convention, I'm rating Indie Press Revolution. And if it's under $20, it doesn't count as a purchase. Like, so I'll buy like 10 of them, and it costs me $100, but none of them count
None of them
because
count. $100 just disappeared.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
And it was Chelsea saying, Chelsea thought of how fun it'd do to do in a cyberpunk world.
yeah.
Um,
Okay,
Critical K said
yeah,
adventure book, so if you had a string of chapters that naturally progress together.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and Chelsea saying the dragons could be cyborg like. And then a
yeah.
bunch of eyes being like, oh, oh. And awesome. Because I forgot to go to it. Past the Dragons also is just the art, so people can see the full art by Shan, which was a fun commission to prompt as well. Just so I can showcase that. But actually, we can switch back to our other scene and pull up the other questions I think that were asked.
Do you have the caretaker art to show off too that Tony
Um,
did?
oh, I do. Here, let me pop it open. I think it's because I didn't drag it into the right slide. I put it in the wrong one. Oh yeah, it's because I think it's I didn't scroll down far enough. I had the whole page, not the. There it is. Here, I'll do the same thing I did with the ace, where I have this, and then I do another one, and then I do a close up on the face. Oh, it looks great. Okay, wonderful. I need to put that down. Get these lines out of the way. There we go. There they are. All right. So when you're talking about working on the outfit for this, Tony, tell us about the caretaker.
So I definitely had to kind of simplify some things because
Yeah.
at first I was like, oh yeah, it's like we could do this, 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 and this, and it's like, but do I actually want to draw that? But it's like I basically knew right away what I wanted like her face to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew like what like her general like vibe was going to be.
Yeah.
Um, like based on like the description for the caretaker, it was already like sort of a no-brainer
Yeah.
when it's like just the idea just popped into my head. It's like I know who that is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I look at her. I'm like, I trust her innately. Yeah, she'll take care of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was a little difficult picking out the colors, but
Mm-hmm.
like I think it still turned out very well. I love the way that I did her hair so much.
Oh yeah.
I think it looks amazing. Um, and then of course she's got a little cat with her,
Mm-hmm.
or cat-like thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
One of the choices in the game is a
Mm-hmm.
Warren cat that you can
Mm-hmm.
choose. And Tony was like, "What's a Warren cat?" I was like,
yeah.
"I don't know. It's a cat." And Tony was like, "Can it be like different colors?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a fantasy world, I guess." And
It's like it's just a really fluffy Espeon if anybody
yeah,
plays Pokemon.
Oh my gosh, it is. I was like, yeah, because the color you chose. I was like, it's pink too. The second you say that.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
I didn't actually mean to do
Yeah.
that.
Happy
But
accident.
yeah. And then also like I had a lot of fun with her staff. I liked
Mm.
the idea of having like an actual like candle, like literally like a guiding light um
Yeah.
on her staff. Um, because like that's the vibe that she gives. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's that person. Like she's the one that you want to make you like the best chili, best soup.
Yes.
She's gonna make sure that you put on your helmet
Mm-hmm.
and your knee pads when you're going out and doing stuff. And also will chastise you when you don't finish your food.
Yes. uh, oh, and I'd love to hear your reaction, or if you want to repeat it, to when Shan included your caretaker in their art of the cozy hold room.
I wasn't expecting it at all. I was just like, oh man, this scene looks cool. And then I like look over to the side. It's like, wait, is that her? Oh, and it's like they did such a great job on like just all of it. I love the outfit also, by the way. It's like the very like it's much more like down to earth as far as
Mm-hmm.
like that like what I put her in, that's the writing outfit. Like what she's like got in the kitchen is like this is like relaxed time.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's like I love it. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Another question. Did you do this traditionally and then was it scanned digitally, or how was it created?
Uh, Generally, I tend to do my sketches traditionally, and then I move on to either I'll use like a specific sketch to add into like Clip Studio to use for the line art eventually, or I just go based off of what I've already put together and start a new like final sketch digitally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this I don't yeah. There's like some of for the gold dragon specifically, I remember I had to bring uh like one of the faces that I drew
Mm-hmm.
like into clip because I was like I'm having a hard time like trying to like get
Mm-hmm.
like nail down like the essence that I had in these sketches. So let me
Mm-hmm.
just bring that in like digitally and I'll just like superimpose the head and I'll know what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
after that.
Yeah, a comment from Mads is, "Oh wow, this is really well done. It feels very soft and markery. Never would have thought this was done almost entirely digitally." Which I think having the soft look is very nice and goes with the warmy feeling of Warrenguard. How did you
No, I
achieve the
had
soft
a
feel?
I have like a very like select amount of brushes that I use specifically for when I'm doing digital art.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know for a fact I was prob which one did I probably used yeah, I have clip opened up right now. I probably end up using I know I've got like a marker blender that I use to
Mm-hmm.
do most of the blending. Um, I've got like this brush called the Sunder brush, which is very much like a sort of like a Photoshop type brush that has like nice like uh, line weight to it, so you can sort of paint like very nice details with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or where's the other one? Oh no. Uh, is it the noisy ink brush version 2? I know that's the one I use for the gold dragon
Mm.
at some point, and I probably also used it for the caretaker. Um, but yeah, it's like most of the brushes that I use like maybe like a maximum of 5
Mm.
altogether, and I've like traditional art is my bread and butter most of the time, so I've just been sort of trying to apply that to digital art where I
Mm-hmm.
can, which is why I generally tend to do a lot of digital painting over like just like a digital line drawings.
Yeah.
Um, but no, yeah, it's like I miss doing oil paint, and digital art tends to have that sort of feeling depending on the brushes that you use. And
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of where it's like the nice push and pull of the colors
Mm-hmm.
uh, makes my job a lot easier because it means that I'm not just like sticking to, well, I've got this one and this one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe we can sort of mix that together with that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with this piece. Definitely, uh, it's like I'm happy with my color choices
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Especially her hair. The hair is that so good.
Yeah. It's so good. It has such great flow to it. It's just obsessed. Okay, let
Uh,
me. Yes, you. net.
I would love to show off a little bit of your work, Abby, and show off what this will look like in the full page spread. I just sent you an
Ooh.
image I want you to put up
Okay,
if
let
you
Ooh.
can.
me pull this. Okay. Da, da, da. Oh, yes, here. Let me...
Yeah, we should show off
There we go.
what this will look like on the page.
Yes, let me
And while you're
just...
pulling this up, I want to make
Here.
a pitch. Warrenguardgame.com. You can go to follow the project and make sure you're one of the first to back. If you're in this chat and you haven't followed the project at warrenguardgame.com,
Putting
get
it
on
in the
that.
chat right now as well. BackerKit, there we go.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I forget not everyone's seen our current BackerKit page. I'm like, what do you mean they haven't seen this? I was
Yeah,
like,
no, they.
yeah. So doing the layout design, I guess I'll just talk like a moment on how I'm laying it down. I want to integrate. I like having a lot of color, and that brought me on after seeing I made. It's somewhere over there. It's called Heads and Tails, and I just laid it out myself. It's a coin flipping. It's mechanics, and then I needed to add the game, but then I was like, ah, and I just laid it out. But it looked nice enough that Matt was like, would you do my layout design? And so when it comes to this, I wanted to use quite a few colors and then do color coordination. So like the tokens and like the weak moves, because they are about using tokens, they are all the same color. I have experience choosing a name in the same kind of slightly different tone of green in here as caretaker, because that is very specific to like just that, and then character creation a slightly different tone. They don't mean too much to most people, but to me, I like it. And then the little they're not quite triangles, but the little accents on the bottom corner is because I want to add color coordinated corners so that when you're quickly flipping through the pages at the bottom or the top, it will have colors that, for, like all the characters will have that at the bottom. All the dragons will have a different color, and then it will go so on and so forth. So if you have a physical copy, it's easy to note where everything is. And then in digital copies, of course, it will have like PDF little headings, so you don't have to flip in the same way. But I wanted to work in making sure you're able to find what you want fast, because especially if this is going to be like at least 100 pages, you want to find your stuff. And it looks like book edges too. Yes, exactly. And additionally, the fancy letter, that was because I think it might have been that you're just being like, ooh, what about like those fancy
Yeah,
ones?
illuminated manuscripts
Yes.
or what? Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't find one, like a font that I didn't have to like pay for import or like something. And so I did find one that was kind of what I wanted, but I was like, what if I just drew every letter that I needed as I needed them? And so then I did that, and then I just did it the way that I liked it. But it's kind of Anglo text, but then I just didn't do it the exact same because I didn't like all of the ways that it had the letters. So yes, that is hand lettered in. Mads has already got mad at me for this in my own stream. I draw with my finger on my phone and flip a clip, and that's how I made the little figure eight drawing that I can that I can zoom in on if I.
Yeah, and the figure eight drawings came from you wanting to really mimic the Dragonology, but
Yes, and I was like, I want more art, but we can just have little sketches like it was. You can see it says a fellow Dragonrider's depiction, because I was like, not all Dragonriders are artists, but look, it's a little sketch.
Yeah.
And I find it
Yeah.
quite funny. And yeah, highlighted section headers, all that
Yeah.
jazz. Yeah.
One thing I thought about doing just now, you can see live process now, is since we're putting like figures, like this is some sort of like documented book,
Hmm.
I'd love to give these kind of iconic writers like names,
Oh, yeah.
like this is this person,
Hmm.
caretaker,
Hmm.
you know,
Mm.
uh, and kind of choose names for them,
Yeah.
like figure out what color dragons they have, and
Hmm.
you know,
I like that. And
yeah, I
also,
think it would be fun.
I will say another possible future artist, depending on how much we raise in BackerKit, depending on what we can grab. Our possible threat artist, secrets, would be because it's doing in one style, could have like an alias for it's like this is who is drawing it, and so that they would almost have like an in character
Yeah,
thing. And
yeah,
there's just so much fun stuff that can be done.
mhm,
uh,
yeah, yeah. I think that's a good idea.
mhm.
Seeing the creation process, Abby and I just gush about dragons and stuff to each other,
Yeah.
like all the time.
And it's like, oh, what about this?
Yeah,
Uh, and that's,
you know
I'd
what?
say, oh, sorry, you go.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it's a similar process because whenever I have another commission I can give Tony, I just roll up and I'm like, here, look at the ideas. And then I think even it was when I did the Gold Dragon, I was like, also, it's like the idea for like the collar is because like it has a really booming voice. So it can use it as like an amplifying thing, but also it can reflect
Uh-huh.
sunlight because it shoots sunballs. So it can reflect
Yeah.
sunlight. Like when those that like Romans or something like reflected it on a ship. Like I had like a diagram with a little thing, and then at the bottom or in the document, I was like, by the way, you don't have to use any of this. You can do what you want.
Yeah.
Like do whatever you'd like. But yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Of
for everyone?
course, this
What
is your-
color dragon rider do you think you would be?
But they choose me.
They do. Which do you think would choose you?
Okay, which one has chosen me the most is silver. Whenever
Yeah.
I've played the game, and also it makes sense because it's like is
Uh-huh.
wise. It balances out me and who I am very well, and also in in my way, I was like it matches my kind of partner in a way where I was like that's the person I chose in my life that balances me out, and so I was like it makes sense to me, so I like silver.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think I already called myself out on the orange
Orange?
dragon, honestly.
You're like this is me.
Yeah, it's like I like the chaos. um, and also I like that it's small. It's small like me as a person.
Uh-huh.
um, and like the fact that it can like go into like all these like smaller areas and like follow it, it would be able to like follow me around and still cause mischief.
I love that.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I would be. I've said that I think I'd be a bronze rider a few times,
Yes.
because they're big and kind of oafish and sweet like me. But I also think a green dragons are the ones that follow me. I haven't actually gotten to play my game. That's the sad thing about being a game designer
Yeah.
is you very rarely get to play your game. But green dragons show up in a lot of games I run, and so I think the green dragon is kind of following me. Like Total Party Kiss is the first time I haven't had a green dragon.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah. So, and green dragons are like the dogs of dragons. They're sweet and they always have your back and they'll like take the hit for you.
I like that for you.
Yeah.
I like Green Dragon for you. Also, I like the comment Critical K. Imagine an art piece of like a kid at the caldera watching eggs to see which one hatches picks them. I'm just saying, if we hit some stretch goals,
I've written a piece of lore about that already,
Yeah.
and so like that
Yeah.
piece of lore needs some art.
Yeah.
So
In my pitches for my larger pieces of art that I would like to commission if we have the budget for. So Kay, bug your friends. Bug your friends.
yeah, yeah.
It can
Kay is the best friend bugger we have.
Yeah.
Kay was going hard at PAX Unplugged, handing out flyers. So So really, Kay is someone that we don't need to push it more.
Yeah.
Warrenguard personality quiz is something I actually started working on this weekend and was like, I'm too exhausted. I need to take a break. But yes, I've tried to write one. It's on my to-do list. Is writing a personality quiz. But I was like, I'll need to ask Abby for like the pieces of art at the end, and I was asking Abby for a million things already.
Yes. It's been a month.
It has. But the BackerKit page is done. We're all ready to go like 4 days early, which is
so good.
Excellent.
Yeah. Because then we can rest, because then we need to get the hype train going.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
rest by having 2 more Warrenguard streams this week, and then...
Yeah, I was like, rest tomorrow. I meant that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go back to our regular scene, because we do have some questions. We did get to Critical K's question of inspo for different colored dragon designs. Brian LeBert says, why do you hate copper and platinum dragons? I would like to know.
So I was laying out the dragon colors, and I was like, well, I'm gay, so we need the rainbow.
Of course.
And then I was like, pink isn't traditionally a color, but like, I want a pink dragon. And then I was like, black and white. And then I was like, gold dragons are so cool. I can't just do a gold.
Yeah.
So let's do gold, silver, bronze, like the Olympic medals. And I was like, 12, a dozen. That's good enough.
A dozen's a great number.
I honestly never considered copper or platinum. I
feel like
not.
You have bronze or copper. You don't have both, in my opinion.
One thing I did consider as pitching to stretch goal writers, if one of them was like, I want to write other dragons, was gemstone colored dragons, doing like a ruby, emerald, sapphire, amethyst dragon.
Do all the ones that are in Stardew Valley for me. Aquamarine.
Yeah. But no one, we haven't had a stretch goal writer sign up to do that yet. We don't have any. So a little bit about the mechanics of the game. The mechanics blend belonging outside belonging and fate accelerated. The dragonriding is mostly inspired by Fate Accelerated. The parts where you're dealing with like rider politics and found family is mostly based on belonging outside belonging, and a lot of our stretch goal writers come from the belonging outside belonging side. Particularly one stretch goal writer I'm so excited we got was Maisie Veselak. Maisie Veselak wrote one of my favorite games that I played in 2023. It didn't come out in 2023. It came out before, but I didn't play it till 2023. But Wickedness, which is a game for strictly 3 players where they play as a coven of witches. And there's a lot of wickedness in Warrenguard, like the way the world building works and the choices you're making for your characters. Like wickedness is something I was referring to a lot while writing Warrenguard. So being able to bring in Maisie Veselak as a stretch goal writer is like a dream come true. I'm so excited that we managed to get them on the project.
That's awesome. Also, chat's been going off on all the different types of dragon that there can be, including a straight up rock dragon. It's just a rock.
I think you'll love the bronze dragon, Stella Joe. Like the bronze dragon is just big and dumb and sweet. And just kind of an oaf.
Boop saying, why are you trying to make me a dragon Sona?
Every time. So one of the fun things as a GM for this game is you get to voice the dragons. And every time I voice a bronze dragon, it's a voice kind of like this.
It's so
How are you doing?
Because there was a bronze dragon the first time I played.
The first time you played it at PAX Unplugged, we had a bronze dragon named Pip.
My favorite.
Who was written by a fresh face, like just a little baby who had a giant dragon.
Yep.
Yeah, I also love doing the orange dragon voice. My orange dragon voice is kind of like this. You
should have like optional tips, voice notes for different dragons.
Yeah.
And then you could just do that, because the
Yeah.
thing is, you
An
know how to
orange dragon's
fan.
kind of a bad Cartman impression.
Yeah. Oh. Oh my. That would be, if we do promotional videos, that would be that one, where it's just a video of you doing, like, here are all the best dragon voices for Warrenguard.
Yeah.
Ah.
Stella Joe thinks all dragons are butch lesbians, and I'm for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put it in the lore.
Yeah.
They make their
Sorry,
dragons the
there's no
empowerment
male
gift.
dragons anymore. Actually, I really love we have so I wasn't sure how different the species of dragons were going to be until Tony started drawing them, and they're very different to the
Yeah.
point where, like, they seem like very different species. Uh, but um, we have a romance in our game
Yeah.
between on critical misses between a gold dragon and a green dragon.
Ooh.
They're still in love, but their riders have divorced and are trying. The dragons are trying to parent trap them back together. And I also, the romance between a gold dragon and a green dragon just feels very queer to me. Like they're not actually like compatible, but they love each other anyway. Like, like it's very sweet.
That is so sweet. Oh, I love that. Oh, and
Yeah.
last question that was in the pre-done one. And again, if you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the chat now about anything at all about Warrenguard. This was from Ruth in the playtest.
That's actually
show.
Amanda. Ruth is one of her
Okay.
character names.
Okay, great. Amanda,
Yeah.
discussion on how you came to choose the rider roles you did, and what did and didn't work out. Are there any cut roles? And what were they?
Yeah, so I talked about how Warrenguard is based on a real found family, and one that I tried to write so hard was kind of the lovable idiot rider. Um, like just someone who sucks at like it's a bad writer.
Yeah.
And I tried to write that so hard, but every time I wrote it, I was like, this would be fun to play for one session, and then this character would suck. Like, it's really hard, at least in the mechanics I wrote, to have the writer get better. And it was also something where I was trying to emulate. Jay Dragon wrote The Fool in Wanderhome,
Yes.
where the fool is also kind of a lovable idiot, but the fool is kind of secretly wise, and I tried to
Okay.
capture that, but I had trouble capturing it in the system. It actually makes me think of something. I'm tangenting here. This is a thing that I thought of till just now. Um, uh, I read an interview with talking about the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and they realize how hard it is to write cops who are idiots, because an idiot cop is just actively terrifying.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for like a dragon rider. Like, you put someone in that sort of position of protecting people and then make them an idiot who's bad at their job.
Yeah.
And it's,
especially, yeah, in the world you built, where it's like, this is a terrifying reality that the only thing keeping them from being completely devoured by monsters are people that know how to ride dragons, and one is an idiot.
Yeah, and I also tried to write someone who was kind of the opposite. I wanted to have kind of a sciencey, nerdy type, like the type who was like very into like the flight strategies and intricacies and like science and knowledge, and was maybe like a tinkerer type, but that type also just did not fit. And I felt like, honestly, took away from the ace, because one of the ways you can play the ace is kind of being a nerd about flying. In addition to, you can play the ace as a severe alcoholic.
You can give the ace the himbo energy, which is what I did the first time I played the ace.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to play the ace. But those were two roles that I tried to write and just could not write. And I was actually talking to my friend Brian LaBerge, who's a big supporter of the system, has actually been running it at conventions. It's actually, I wanted to have on the stream tonight, but is running a playtest game for me
Yeah.
tonight. Uh,
Oh.
but Brian, I was bouncing off Brian, like, I don't know what to do. I can't write a 6 character role. You can't put out a game with only 5 roles in it. And Brian's like, every role you write at this point will take away space from one of the roles you've already written. Like, just have the courage of your convictions and put it out with 5 roles and 12 dragons and be like, this is the game as it's meant to be. And we do have a stretch goal for an extra role. It might be out of my capability to write it, but Sebastian Yue, I don't want to pronounce their name wrong. Sebastian Yue is actually our first stretch goal writer. If we raise 6K, we'll be writing a new role. Do we know what that role is yet? No, we
No.
do not. But Sebastian
Ooh.
has got to play the game and loves it and is excited about writing it. So, you'll find out once we hit that goal. I'll push Sebastian more to be like, so what are you writing?
What do you
Uh,
do?
uh,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Chelsea Hay asks, is there a Discord server for Warrenguard? If not, will there be one? The one that I will say that we have been referring to is specifically the playtest server.
Yeah.
And Natalie, you can speak
Yeah.
on the rest of the question.
Yeah, we keep that server very tight, and I don't want to make you feel bad for not being able to join it. It's very tight and restricted for a reason, just because it's I want the community. I don't have the time to
Moderate.
moderate,
Yeah.
so I'm very careful on who I'm letting into the server or not. Um, Maybe that will be a stretch goal, if being able to pay a moderator for a year for a Warrenguard server and get that up off the ground might be a stretch goal for this campaign. That's something we'll definitely consider
Oh
doing.
yeah,
That's
and just speaking
not a
about
bad idea.
other possible stretch goals in the future, I wanted to mention other ones that have popped up because I want to say it's like right now it's when it goes live you'll see that it goes up to 10,000 with what the stretch goals are. I'm a dreamer. I see this going to the moon. This is going. I see it. So, in my mind, like I know my partner does code, like software engineer could help make possibly a Foundry virtual tabletop add-on so that you can play Warrenguard easier in Foundry because there's already some Fate Accelerated, so it'd be working that in. And yes, flying a dragon to the moon is the thing, is what Stella Jo is saying. Exactly. Take the dragons to the moon. Other ones, for on my art director side, it'd be getting more art into the book. I have like a scale of what can fit in at the base. We hit 5,000. We're getting all the dragons and we're getting all of the characters. We're getting that, and then the rest, if we need it, I'm sketching little doodles because that's what we can fit. But the more that we can do, the more bigger pieces we can fit in, such as like the lovely one we have by Shan. We could do more bigger pieces like that, and more, maybe even like baby dragons. Maybe baby dragons. I want to pay Tony to draw us baby dragons. That could happen.
I would be happy to draw some baby dragons.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah. Yes.
Chelsea wants merch, like iron-on patches, pins, caps. I want that too. The
Patches
logistics of doing that, as this is my first crowdfunding campaign.
Yes.
You might not realize
And you're
that.
killing it so far. You're killing it so far.
Somehow. Uh,
Yeah.
Again, if this is successful, if we fly this thing, we'll come back in a year with a hardcover that has even more stuff in it, with patches and all sorts of like extra stuff.
Patches of the crest.
One thing I want to do as a stretch goal that I haven't even told Abby about, as just like an easy stretch goal to do, is I want to do, because we talked about having Shan do like a piece of art of the outside of kind of
Yes.
like the world. I want to do postcards. As a postcard that will come in everyone's pack. I'll be like, from the world of Warrenguard.
That's so cute.
Oh.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Someone
People
said
are
DM
excited.
screens, but this game doesn't DM screen well because you need to
Mhm.
reach out and put
Yeah.
out in person. You want to put out index cards
Mhm.
to so
Yeah.
it's like very
Mhm.
there's a lot of things to I always joke
To
from
know.
the episode of Community, like, is there
Mhm.
something to Jenga? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of pieces to move around.
Wait, Warrenguard official whiteboards. Hear me out. Note the aspects. How many tokens everybody has. It's like a little
Yeah,
chart at the bottom.
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Oh, and also doing, because right now how Nat GM is doing virtual games has like slideshows, but like having templates and that stuff, that's easy to add for add-ons. And yes, sorry, some of my some of my Twitch followers have my whiteboard emote, so that's what that little white square is. Just so you two know why it looks like a
no, I'm
version
one
of
of your
Clip.
Twitch followers,
Yeah.
so I gotta get in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were we? Oh, we were talking about virtual tabletop. So
Yes.
Brian LeBurge, actually, I've got to send it to you,
Yeah.
built a better version of the slideshow today
Oh,
that is
amazing.
even
Cool.
better, and like it makes it so you don't even need the character sheets up at the same
Yeah.
time. Just
Oh,
everything on it. I'll
oh,
send it to
beautiful.
you. It's
Oh,
so good.
amazing.
Brian is fantastic. If
She's
you're writing
amazing.
a game, here's step one.
Step one.
Step one, hire Abby. Step two, bring on Dice Dungeons to design your dice. Step three, make Brian a fan of your game because
Yes.
Brian will run playtests of it and
Yeah.
will give you a bunch of good advice
Yeah.
and will basically be like your biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then four, hire Tony
Yeah.
to do all
Yeah.
your art.
Yeah. Doesn't
And then
just draw
five,
dragons. We saw Caretaker. Come on.
yeah,
I mean, I'll
yeah,
draw more animals if you want, but
Yeah.
I can draw people.
Yeah.
yeah. Let me tell you how to make a game. It's my first game, Sapphic Space Pirates, was me and one artist who I brought on, who I did all the art direction for. And making a game with an actual team is amazing, and especially when they're as good of a team as I have for this game. So I want to say thank you to you two here publicly with everyone watching. This game couldn't happen without either of you. So thank you.
I'd like to
Thank
say,
you.
yeah, my thank you to you. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, Tony, you go. You talk about how this happened for you.
I mean, it's definitely I definitely wasn't expecting someone to like reach out to me for like artwork for like a a game of any kind. I
Mm-hmm.
had been talking to a friend before, and they were like, yeah, it's like I sometimes I like look for artwork on like was it the DM Guild
Mm-hmm.
website and stuff. And I was like, oh, I could probably do that. But then it's like now I can just be in a book.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just really excited for everything to like like for it to start. I'm ready.
Yeah. Getting like an actual book that has your work in it, because it's like I'm getting the same feeling where I was just like, I'm gonna design those pages, like the layout. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's great. But yeah, no, I want to thank you, Nat, because it's been just such a pleasure working with you, because it's like your passion for the game, and like this is an amazing game. So to be a part of it, I've been excited the whole time. Like that's been driving why I'll be like, no, I can't do that. That's outside, because I'm trying to be so professional. It's outside my
Yeah.
contract. But then I was like, but what if? Hear me out. I love this game. I'm obsessed with it. And what if I do this? And then I'm just like, here you go. No, I didn't do it. What do you mean?
Yeah, I would love to like take credit for Warrenguard being an excellent game, but there's so much I feel like I don't know how I did it. Like
It
there's
came
so
to
much
you
where I'm
in
like,
a dream.
it did. Like I swear, there's so many things where like I just was like, I don't know, I'll fill in these as the mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
and then like they work perfectly, or people tell me like, oh, the list of questions you chose for each rider to ask each other is so hard. I was like, that was my first draft, and I never changed it. But I'm glad you like it, and I guess I'll stick with it and not change it.
Your gut
Um,
instinct is just so good.
I think a lot of it comes from playing a lot of excellent games. I play a lot of Monster Hearts.
Mhm.
Avery Alder is one of my biggest game design inspirations, and the thing she does with economy of space, of being able to create characters and differentiate these characters, and like it's almost like how different can you make these characters in as few words as possible. And
Mhm.
I think about that a lot, and that's something I really tried to do in Warrenguard, was like really have economy of choice. Like there's a lot of things where, the things where there's a lot of things where you're saying choose two you are and two you aren't, which is uh, a technology I stole from Wander Home, which is
Mhm.
another game that does amazing things with economy of space. And I hope that people like bring up my game and something that does that well, you know.
Mhm. Oh, Stella's asking, would love to know if there were other media influences for the setting and or the tone.
Not media influences as much as there's things I've thought about a lot, which is the Warren as a there's a lot of tropes that I've leaned on, like the
Mm.
Warren as a firehouse. And
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, these are all like firemen that live together,
Mhm.
and they cook for each other, and because I specifically made Warrenguard a world where war was in the past,
Mhm.
because I didn't want this to be a setting, because the immediate thing every time I
Mhm.
write war is people are like, well, I don't want to fight in a war.
Yeah.
Like I want to try and de-conflict this, which is
Mhm.
something I agree with.
Mhm.
And so I didn't want to throw my players into a war that, you know,
Mhm.
either was comically like there's a good side and a bad side, and
Yeah.
you're on the good side, because that's not how I feel war is.
Yeah.
Um, or so I almost had them fighting forces of nature, which is what a firefighter is basically doing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of firefighter tropes in Warren Guard.
Mm.
Um, Top Gun, I guess, is a media influence for this. There's a lot of like being a fighter pilot and fighter pilot culture in the game. Like
Yeah.
I watched a lot of fighter pilot movies while I was writing this. Um, Another piece of media where it turns out the author is a terrible Zionist, and I wouldn't support her work again. But I read the book Fourth Wing, which is
Mm.
this schlocky romance about dragon riders.
Yes. My sister
If you
is
can
making me.
pirate it,
Yeah.
pirate it. I highly recommend pirating it. It is the worst garbage in a great way. Um, and The Outsider is very much based on that, like the
Mhm.
sexy bad boy. I was like, I need a sexy bad boy in
Yeah.
this game, um, who just doesn't fit.
Mhm.
Yeah, Highway to the Dragon Zone.
Yes.
Thank you, Mads.
Oh, right. Before our next question, I'm also thinking, and I'll let you continue. Sorry, but I think it's so funny that I don't know if I heard you say it's like a firehouse before, because like I
Uh-huh.
come on my mom's side, like both of her brothers were firefighters. My grandfather was a firefighter, so I was like, no wonder I was drawn to this. I was like, why does this seem so great?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
And did you have anything else to add before our next question?
No, I think that's it for my
Mm-hmm.
media influences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think. There's a lot of things where I'll watch and be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, that's a caretaker archetype." Like
Mm.
that's how I would play that, or that's
Mm-hmm.
this archetype. But yeah, I think Dragon Riders of Pern. Oh, another excellent book series I will recommend
Mm-hmm.
if you are looking for Dragon Rider media is a
Mm-hmm.
book series called The Aurelian Cycle. The first book is Fireborn.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the artist? The writer's name?
I know I don't have this, but yeah, it's because it's all Aurelian Cycle Fireborn is what I see. It's because we gave each of the dragon media a label because Fireborn was the ace.
Yeah, Rosaria Munda. That one does take place in a world where there's war
Mm-hmm.
and child soldiers being drafted in to become dragon riders.
Mm-hmm.
But it very much deals with the politics of war
Mm.
and these people trying to stop it and fight a war they don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the author described it as being like living in the London Blitz, except instead of bombers, it's dragon fire.
Oh.
Uh, like dragons that are
Mm-hmm.
attacking. It's a
Mm.
really excellent book series. I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Aurelian cycle.
Aurelian Cycle. And that was given to Ace.
Yeah.
Aragon, given to Caretaker. How to Train Your Dragon, Fresh Face. Fourth Wing, Outsider, as you said. And Dragon Riders of Pern, Old Timer.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Also, just because looking at the time, we've been in streaming for about an hour and a half. This will probably be our last question, unless we get another one in, and then we'll do a bit of a wrap up. This question is: in a perfect world, who would you cast as your dream live play players / DM for Warrenguard?
Well, Abby would be one of my players, of course.
Stop.
Who would I have? Um, So a secret about me is I don't watch a lot of actual plays. I'm in
Yeah.
a lot of actual plays.
Yeah.
I don't watch a lot of them.
That's why this is better. You can choose literally whoever you want.
Choose
These could
literally
be
anyone.
like people you know personally. This could be celebrities.
You know what? I'm gonna steal this first answer from Jeff Stormer. So I have to put Jeff Stormer at the table. So it's
Yeah.
Abby, Jeff Stormer,
Amazing.
from Party of One podcast,
Mm-hmm.
who is an excellent actual play. I've listened to a lot of Jeff's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff's answer is always Jason Kelsey is his dream person. And I'm like, yes, Jason Kelsey would love this game. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Can I
let's go
pitch
with
one? I want to pitch
Yeah.
Terry Crews.
Yeah, okay. We're just getting a lot of big buff guys. And let's get a big buff lady. Let's get
Yeah.
Willow Nightingale from AEW, my favorite wrestler.
Yes.
If anyone watches AEW, let's get Willow Nightingale in there. She would be great.
You should do all wrestlers. That would be a great
oh.
table.
Oh, that would be a great table.
I'll become a wrestler
Yeah.
just so I can stay at the table.
Yeah, I actually had a very vivid dream early on in Warrenguard that Chris Jericho, and fuck Chris Jericho, but Chris Jericho was like, I fucking love this game. I was showing the game off to him. He's like, I love this game. I gotta show this to Cool Hand Ange.
Oh my god.
I've also had we did a playtest session with one of the actual playwriters, D'Angelo Murillo, who's going to be writing some world lore, and he played a luchador dragon rider who rode an orange dragon.
Yes.
He was a luchador ace who rode an
Beautiful.
orange dragon who also rode a luchador mask.
Oh,
So I think
yeah,
you know what? There's another alternate setting is dragon
Warren
wrestler.
Mania.
Warren Mania. Is
Yeah,
what
Warren
Matt said.
Mania. A world where dragon rider luchadors are in constant battle with each other.
Yeah. Warren Wrestling Entertainment. You could do it that way where it's like Coliseum style, where there's like some sort of king in a far off land, and that's the adventure book, and you have to go off, find him, and he's like, welcome to Warren Mania, and then you discover that place, they don't have the dragons protect them, they have them attack each other.
Yeah. In staged fights.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, none of it's real.
Of course, that's wrestling.
Yeah, excellent.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so I think that was our last question. As we wrap up, anything you would like to say before I throw to Tony for last words and whatnot?
No, go ahead.
All right. Tony, please give yourself like a plug. It's just like what you do, who you are, where people can find you if they want to commission you for work. But what I will say to anyone who wants to take Tony away from me, know that Warrenguard comes first. Please.
Well, folks can find me on like Twitter and Instagram under like the exact same handle.
Mhm.
I've tried to lock it down like everywhere I go. Um, I I'm going to make an effort to post more art in the future once I get my ADHD meds up and running. Uh,
I feel you.
um, but yeah, it's like I'm always open for commissions. Like right now I'm I'm like in the middle of moving, so I'm not
Mhm.
I'm a little busy, but um but like I'm always available. Especially even if you want traditional commissions. I love to draw basically anything. But yeah, feel free to reach out. You know where to find me now.
Amazing. And then I'll do myself, and then we'll end on you, Nat, because you're it makes sense to me. Um, my name is Abby Kelly. I am the art director. This is also my Twitch channel. This will be posted to the Luck on the Harbor YouTube channel afterwards. If you ever come back to this Twitch channel and you're not familiar, I mostly do Stardew Valley streams. I'm currently doing a JoJo run. That's my whiteboard where I plan my JoJo run because I'm obsessed with it. But if you want overlays or any type of art direction, layout design, I'm a little booked up for the art direction side at the moment, but layout design and graphics, all that, etc. You can find me at abskelly.card.com or anywhere on social media at ABZKELLY. And yes, I say Z because I am Canadian. Uh, and that is my end. Nat, you wrap it all up in a little bow.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie Putum. I wrote a little game called Warrenguard that we've been talking about tonight, but you've heard enough about the game and why you should back it. If you're here and you're like, I'm still not sure, like, I don't know what else to tell you
Yeah.
at this point. Uh, um, but I want to plug some of the things that we have on deck tomorrow on Total Party Kiss. Warrenguard actual play. It's our
Yes.
finale episode called One Last Ride. It's I think someone's gonna cry. That's my money on it.
I'll cry.
I think someone's gonna cry. Friday we have Critical Misses. We have a episode there. Saturday morning BackerKit goes live. You're
Yeah.
all gonna get on your computer. You're gonna get up at 10 a.m. You're gonna have your little cereal, your little coffee. You're gonna pledge to get Warrenguard. So you can get your foil gold dragon sticker.
Yes.
Saturday night, if you're in the Baltimore area, they're at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're having a launch party at No Land Beyond. We're going to have multiple GMs there running Warrenguard. We're going to have a raffle for all backers. I got this really adorable stuffed green dragon that's going to be one of the raffle prizes. We're also going to give out some of our reject yellow and red dice as a raffle prize. We also have some other things from Dice Dungeons, from John, who was here earlier. There's going to be a lot of great stuff. And then Monday next week, the 26th, you can find me over at Darling Demon Eclipse's Twitch channel, who raided us earlier today. It might be Demon Eclipse.
I think it's Demon Eclipse, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to be talking Warrenguard on her talk show, The Dovecote. And that'll be at 7:30 p.m. Then Friday we're on Critical Misses again, and then Saturday, March 2nd, we're on 6 p.m. on Roll for Felicity, where Felicity is going to be running Warrenguard, and I'm going to be a player for the
Finally!
first time ever on stream. I'm going to be playing Warrenguard, so you don't want to miss that.
Mhm.
stay tuned. If you
Yeah.
back it, you'll get all of this in your emails.
Mhm.
I'll be sending out like schedules, everything. If
Mhm.
you're going to PAX East, I'm going to be at
Yes.
PAX East running 6 sessions of Warrenguard over the weekend.
Sit.
It's crazy. Brian LaBerge will also be running 1, so there'll be 7 whole sessions of Warrenguard there if you want to play it. You can also meet up with Dice Dungeons there and buy some
Yeah.
dice from them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's
My
it.
life is Warrenguard right now. Also, you can pick up Sapphic Space Pirates
Yeah.
at luckoftheharbor.com
Yeah.
if you want to buy a game about
Mhm.
queer space romps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You can also go pick up my Monster Hearts 2 skin, the Snake, which is based on Taylor Swift. If you've ever wanted to be a character based on Taylor Swift in Monster Hearts 2.
Amazing.
Yeah. And that's it. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching.
Amazing. Yes, thank you all. I don't think I had a raid planned for this, just to end it off. But thank you all for tuning in, and stay tuned for where you can find all those things that were mentioned. It'll probably be posted on socials and or through the email. So just make sure you go to warrenguardgame.com and put in your email and confirm your email. All right. That is it. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.